each other up before you. Oh, hey, Joy.
I accidentally smashed her hand, so we bumped fists.
There are no such things as accidents.
Yeah.
You did it intentionally, huh? Joy, you saw that.
What? We have a viral
Next question.
sensation on our hands, Skip. I don't know if you saw this, but Shannon's all over the internet.
With what?
We'll show you.
No, we ain't gonna show nothing.
Well, it's actually no to you. It's a video someone edited together of Shannon saying Skip.
Yeah.
A Skip video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you see it. There you go.
Oh, you got jokes this morning.
I don't. I'm just guessing.
Oh, you're not guessing.
Cedric, the entertainer, speaking of jokes, will join us later, and Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson will be with us in studio today, but we have to start with the latest comments from the president. Yesterday, President Trump urged NFL owners to adopt and enforce a rule that requires players to stand during the anthem. He added that he has spoken to several team owners, and he thinks owners are afraid of their players. The president went on to say the protests are hurting the league. Let's take a listen.
You cannot have people disrespecting our national anthem, our flag, our country, and that's what they're doing. And in my opinion, the NFL has to change. Or you know what's going to happen? Their business is going to go to hell.
Shannon, how will this play out?
It's going to play out like it's been playing out over the last 6 or 7 years. The NFL will be just fine. It's been fine for 98 years, and I don't see that slowing down.
I hope you're right.
But let's be realistic, though, Skip. Trees do not grow to the sky. Even giant sequoias, which is the largest individual single tree, they don't grow to the sky. Now, one was reported at 314 feet high. That doesn't touch the sky.
Nope.
Look at the most popular TV shows, The Mashes, The Friends, The Simpsons. Did the ratings go up every single year? Or did they go up, they hold steady, they drop, they go back up? And that's what we're going to see from the NFL. But also, maybe millennials are not watching getting a game from network television. Maybe they're streaming it. You know, that's not the only way that you can watch a football game is on television.
Good point.
But here's the thing. All President Trump is doing is trying to distract you from the real issues. Since he's been in office, 8 months since he's been in office, Skip, it has been very unsuccessful for him. He's trying to distract you on 3 different occasions. What the Republican Party and President Trump has been trying to do, President Trump since he's become president, but the Republican Party has been trying to undo Obamacare. They've had 3 cracks at it, and each time they've been unsuccessful. So let's talk about the NFL. Skip, the way I look at it like this here, the NFL has bigger issues than protesters. They have CTE. And in 2014, they had a domestic violence scandal among some of their players. How did the NFL do, Skip? Record ratings. All he's trying to do is distract you from the issues. Now, and his base loves this. Now, the NFL, they need to say, well, look, but we know what they're going to do because we know how the NFL feels about him. And we're going to talk about this later because he said he talked to Jerry after that situation. Skip. The owners are asking themselves, what's the least amount I can do, but I can appease both sides? What's the least that I can get the most out of? See, if I take a knee and I lock arms and I say my players, it's okay. My black player, 70% of the NFL is made up of black players. Okay, my owner cares. He's linking arms. We showing solidarity. But Jerry took it a little step further. We're going to talk about him also. Yeah, he kneeled, pleased his players, but that wasn't during the anthem. See, we know how President Trump looks at it like this. You either with me or you're against me. We saw on the campaign trail at his rallies, when protesters would stand up, what would his base do, Skip? They would hit him. Oh, I'll pay you fine. Don't you miss the good old days when you could just take them out back and beat the hell out of them? Said if they got arrested, he would pay to get them out, Skip. So this is the kind of attitude that a leader of, say, Russia or a leader of Turkey, when protesters, what do the police and what do people do? They get beat down.
Yep.
And that's what President Trump wants. But he's not distracting me because I know what's going on. I know what he's trying to do because the NFL is such a big business, Skip. If you want to hit your wagon and you want to see it rise, tag on to the NFL. Because while he says ratings are dipped, Do you factor in that this year we've had a storm that meteorologists say hadn't taken place in 800 years? The city of Houston got more rain in a 72-hour period than Seattle got in an entire year, and it broke a record. So what do you think? What about Irma? People were without power. I'm sorry. If my house is flooded, I'm not going to a bar to worry about a football game, because football is a small part of people's day-to-day lives. Football, I want my team to win, Skip, and I'm excited when they do. Yeah, if my team loses, I'm a little disappointed. But that really doesn't affect day-to-day life. Everything that President Trump does affects somebody's day-to-day life in a different way than a sporting event does. But I see what he's trying to do, Skip. He's just trying, this is a red herring. He's trying to distract from the real issues. Protesters are the least of the NFL's problem. They have a much bigger problem. And the big problem is starting to be this guy with his rhetoric. Because what we know, Skip, is that we thought, the American people are going to be smart. They're going to figure this thing out. He's tapped into something. He got those dog whistles blowing loud. And people that's in his base and some of these other Americans, they see that. I wore this tie. This is not an accident. I didn't wear this tie.
I like it.
Because I didn't want people to say I'm unpatriotic.
Okay.
So I wanted to put on the red, white, and blue. So this is not, I'm starting to catch on like President Trump. I know I'm starting to learn how to play this game.
Twitter, tell him he's okay. Tell him he's a patriot. I got to tell you, my friend, I see this very differently than you do. I see this as the greatest threat in the history of the National Football League to its very popularity and ability to continue to succeed at the highest level.
Okay.
I didn't think I'd ever see the day in which the President of the United States doubled down on trying to take down the National Football League, the most popular game in the United States. Am I right?
Yes.
I know baseball's the national pastime, but I think it used to be.
Yes.
It's the national past its time. I don't know. But football surpassed it.
Football is
right
it now.
I enjoyed watching the Cubs clinch last night, like everybody else. But still, this is the NFL we're talking about. And the President of the United States has now committed, it appears, to trying to divide it and conquer it.
Yes.
Because he even went on Fox and Friends this morning, if I can find it. And here we go, Donald Trump. And he says, I think the owners are afraid of the players, if you want to know the truth. And I think it's disgraceful. They've got to be tough and they've got to be smart. So he's now trying to pit the owners against the players.
You hear that whistle blowing, Skip?
Okay, so I'm going to remind you of something. Less than a year ago, this president won an election that a lot of people I know did not think he could win. I did not vote for him. I'm pretty sure you didn't vote for him.
No.
And I'm pretty sure you were completely and utterly shocked when you woke up to the fact, or I don't know if you went to bed.
I was going to bed and I knew it was inevitable.
Okay. Were you not shocked?
Shocked.
So because he won the election and because, to use your term, he's blowing his dog whistle, he is now trying to remobilize his constituency to hit the NFL where it could hurt the most. Pocketbook. The bottom line is always the bottom line, right? What is your income? If you get enough people to call DirecTV, and we saw a story a couple days ago that they were saying, hey, if you call and you say, I don't like the protests, we will refund your $280 subscription and give you the 3 games you already got for free, if that's the reason you give. I don't know how many actually called. I don't know how many will actually start to walk out of games after protests. I don't know how many will turn off games. I don't know how many will say, I don't want to buy the product that sponsor is advertising on my team's telecast. I don't know. But this man is powerful. This man does have a large group of supporters. I'm going to guess that some are off the bandwagon because of that he's failing at his job in many people's eyes. But even though his approval rating is now at a historic low, the point is that he is now a desperate man, and this is a desperate act. But think about it. If, in fact, this is our all-time most egomaniacal president.
Mhm.
How much would it mean to him to say, I brought, so to speak, the NFL to its knees, so to speak?
He tried to do it before. Remember, he sued for $1.2 billion.
Yep.
He was
Oh, now you're going way back to the
the USFL.
USFL
did.
did.
Well, you remember, Skip, he was the reason why the USFL
Yep.
failed because he was outbidding for players.
Okay, but then he wasn't the president of the United States, and he hadn't won that election,
Can I
right?
ask you a question, though, Skip? Why would a businessman, he prides himself on being a great businessman, why would he buy into attempt to buy into a business that he knew was going to hell? Remember, he tried to purchase the Buffalo Bills, and the owners blocked him. They wanted Kim and Terry Pagula to buy the Buffalo
No,
Bills.
but now his point is, because you're protesting, you're going to go to hell.
Aha.
Okay, so let's refresh here. The reason for the current protest is that he rebooted all the protests.
Right.
The protests were fading. They were sort of going into the background, not in a bad way, but I think most teams were back into let's play football.
Right.
Right.
Rest.
And all of a sudden, at a rally in Huntsville, Alabama, it appeared to me watching the video that he went off script as an
Yes.
aside because he had said a couple of times, "What a great crowd! What a great crowd!" So he's going to play to the crowd by taking a shot at the NFL's protesters who were no longer really actively protesting.
Correct.
And he went all the way to SOB. Well, now you've called out at least 70-some% of the NFL, right?
Yes.
And you have effectively forced them to protest you,
Correct.
your protest of their protest, right?
Yes.
So again, we're off message from Colin Kaepernick.
That's what he did.
Okay,
He
but
got
I
them
don't
off-
think that was premeditated. I think he is so desperate that he knows he can reach to the right for whatever supporters he has left, and they are flag wavers. Not that you're waving your flag too. I wave my flag, but I'm talking about blindly loyal to the anthem,
Yes.
the sacred, to hope that you can remobilize those people to say no to the National Football League. That, I'm not sure it'd help his approval rating, but it would help his ego. What if would that not be a career achievement that I made the NFL say uncle, right?
But here's the thing, though, Skip. The NFL and its players, the black players, have been the most outspoken on President Trump. Now, we know that 7 of the most prominent owners in the NFL, they gave $1 million+ to President Trump for his inauguration. So while the players have been outspoken,
And by the way, of those owners you mentioned, without going into names, 4 of them are liberal Democrats, just for the record. It's not just all right-wingers that gave.
yeah, but at the end of the day, most people vote with their back pockets in mind.
I got it.
So-
You are correct.
But now, we did see some people vote against their own best interest because he was talking about replacing Obamacare, and millions upon millions were going to lose health care. Millions upon millions with pre-existing conditions
Yep.
were going to lose health care. And then if you got it, your premium was going to be so high,
Yep.
you're almost better off dead than alive because you're going to put your family in such a financial bind that your grandkids' kids will be trying to pay off this debt.
Okay.
So some people did vote against their own self-interest. But what we know about most people vote with themselves in mind.
Okay.
What's in the best interest for Shannon Sharpe? What's in the best interest for Skip Bayless? And what he's trying to do, and as you mentioned, this is like saying, oh, they're scared of their players. This is like saying the warden is scared of the inmates. He's protected.
That's what he's saying.
That's-
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to
No,
split.
he's saying the inmates are running your asylum. You better get control of your asylum.
Exactly. And what he wants there to be is an uprising and for the owners to quail these such protests,
Yep.
as his supporters would do to the protesters at his rally.
Yep.
They would punch him. They would kick him. The officer would come. I guess you can have First Amendment anywhere except a President Trump rally, candidate Trump at the time. But that's neither here nor there, Skip. But we see what he's, Skip. Remember the shell game now. Let's stay focused right here because he wants you to get distracted talking about the NFL. The NFL is doing just fine. Commissioner Goodell got a new extension. They still, NFL, they cutting checks, the revenue, Fox and CBS, these networks, cutting checks to the tune of $250 million every year.
Okay.
That's not the count
I
what you
hear
get on your
you.
own.
But I'm going to remind you, if I can go really historical, Rome fell. and there would be many years you'd say, there's no, Rome's going to fall?
Yeah.
Rome owns the world. Nope, Rome fell. The Roman Empire, right?
And why did it fall?
Well, I can give you a bunch of reasons.
Yeah. But here's the thing. But see, Skip, look, you should be very cautious because what he's shown you that he can do things that people think are impossible
Yes.
or improbable because he pulled it off. And while we were hoping that America would see through this facade,
Mhm.
they did not. And some are saying they're having buyer's remorse, but that's one thing, kind of like Brexit in the UK.
Okay.
Once you get in, you can't get out. So we're going to have to deal with this president for the next three years. You might have another 4 years of it. I'm not so sure that he's going to be out of there because his base, Skip, you're not changing their mind. I wouldn't even worry about if I run against him as a Democrat or whatever, maybe he has somebody challenge him.
Okay, but if you're right about that and he can convince his base to vote no to the NFL, then he is going to maybe not kill the golden goose that is the NFL, but he might wound it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. But if
Okay.
I'm running against him, Skip, I'm not worried about his base. I'm trying to get the people out that didn't vote. I'm trying to get the independents over to my side. You're not changing their mind, Skip. They're dug in. Because a lot of those see the world, has his views. Skip, I read this morning that the FBI released a stat that the domestic terrorism is on the same level playing field as the jihadists. But we only talk about the jihadists. We don't talk about the domestic, the white supremacists that's creating havoc right here in America. He knows that. He got that information before it was published. I see what he's trying to do. This is all a distraction. But Skip, and I hope, you know what? I wouldn't be terribly disappointed if the ratings started to dip because you know why? Then the players would have the owners' undivided attention. Because then and only then, they talk about, oh yeah, we're lining and we gonna move forward. I mean, I see everybody releasing, it was a great show of loyalty and we showed solidarity, but hopefully we can move forward. They want to move forward as quick as they possibly can.
I'm serious. The owners are going to have to think hard
Yeah.
about, they're going to have to double down in fighting back against the president that they helped get elected in many of them.
Because we know one thing. They say, well, President Trump is very loyal. No, he's not. Because we've seen him fire so many people. But we're going to find out how loyal is Mr. Kraft, and Jerry Jones, and Stan Kroenke, and Mr. Bob McNair, and Snyder, and Woody Johnson. We're about to find out just how loyal they're willing to be. Because when them back...
They won't. They already showed you. I mean, Robert Kraft already issued an anti-Trump statement.
No.
Okay, but just for the record, that's a bigger deal than you think. To me, Jerry Jones kneeling even just before the anthem with his players, a bigger deal than you're giving it credit for.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
because
is.
You know what he did? He called. He said, Mr. President. I don't know. They're on a personal level, so he probably called him. He probably called him Donald.
Okay,
this is all I did.
Okay, but
we're gonna stand moving
if
forward.
Donald continues to threaten the golden goose,
That's what I want
at
to do.
some point,
Keep it up.
The owners are going to have to fight back PR-wise. They're going to have to start making big donations to social causes, whatever cause it is.
Keep
to
it
make
going.
It look like, okay, we're with our players and we're against that president. Because the president has he's backed the players into, he keeps saying the owners are in a box. The players are backed into a corner. How can you not continue to protest every week? He called you out.
Again.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he triples down. He did it again
I
today.
want to see, because the only thing that grabs the owner's attention is money. Not these causes, money. And he's going to challenge that. So we're going to see if you put your money where mouth is.
Well, aside from the ratings, there's obviously a lot of different factors, like you mentioned, the storms and streaming and all of that. The average NFL franchise is worth $2.5 billion, and that's up 8% from last year. So they're still making money. Honestly, when he first said that on Friday night, my first thought was, wow, he's actually lost it. He's no longer just attacking poor people or minorities or women or, minority groups. He's actually attacking billionaires. And those are 32 billionaires who don't like being told what to do and certainly don't like someone telling them where they can do and what they can do with their money. So I keep it up. Keep challenging the richest, most powerful men in this country.
Because, see, this is what Skip is
But last time, this is the biggest threat this league's ever faced, only because this is beyond CTE or players strikes or whatever. This is the president of the United States who got elected.
But those are 32 very powerful, very rich men.
For 50 years, This man has been bullying people.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. The owners didn't care one iota until he came for, because guess what, Skip?
Yep.
Sometimes when it comes knocking on your door, you got the answer.
He's banging on your.
Ooh, ding dong.
Will Odell start to tone down the celebrations? We'll discuss that next.